6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Butta B-Rocka!
Transparency. Transparency Talks Podcast with Butta B-Rocka.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Butta B-Rocka. Woo! Oh my God, we was having some technical difficulties, but that is the way of the world right now with so much going on. Everybody on Zoom, everybody on StreamYard. It's just the way it is. So I apologize that we are just a few minutes late, but hey, that's just life. And when life happens, you just got to make some curves, make some moves, and it's all good. So welcome to Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butta B-Rocka. We have an amazing show for you guys today. I'm super excited and have been waiting for this interview for a minute now. But I want to make a few announcements before we bring on our special guest. One, if you have not done so, get my book, Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying. It's a great read. And, you know, during this COVID and everything, a lot of people have formed new businesses and are doing new things. Like there's so many things that you could do right now to be active and everything. So make sure that you cop my book. Also, Defiant One's Teen Magazine is available. It's a magazine for teens and young adults that not only highlight, you know, the latest artists and different things like that, but they talk about financial literacy. They talk about health and wellness of teens and young adults and other things. I have a new single that is coming out in a music premiere that's coming out called Strange Love. It drops on February 9th. Super excited about that. Okay, so everybody know my show got picked up on iHeartRadio and on Pandora. Well, we're international now because not only did I get picked up on iHeart and Pandora, but I am also on Soul City to Beat every Monday at 3 p.m. in Italy. I am now on Urban Fusion Radio in South Africa. I'll drop all the dates and times and everything later. I am on Rock Dan Radio over in Winnipeg, Prompts, Canada. And I am on Blaze One Radio. There are a couple of other ones, but until the ink is dry, I cannot talk about them yet. So I will announce all of that later. I'll have all the links on my page so you guys can tune in. But with all that being said, y'all didn't come to see me. Y'all came to see the lady of the hour, Miss Johnnie Walker. How you doing, Miss?
Oh, hi there. I was making sure the ink was dry like you.
I know that's right. I am so excited to interview you. I have been waiting for the time to turn 7 o'clock all day.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get it cracking, as they say.
Right. So let me officially introduce you. Ms. Johnnie Walker is the entertainer executive and founder and CEO of NABFEME, the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment. That's a mouthful by itself.
Yeah, it's a very long name, but it works.
Yeah. So while you know what? Since we just brought that up,
I'm gonna sit back and listen.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, since we just brought that up, let's go ahead and dive into NABFEME, and then we'll take it back after that. No. Let's start from the beginning. Because they got to know how you even transition to that. So okay. Can you tell everybody just a little brief introduction about yourself, and then I got a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. That's always scary. Well, I'll give you a long story short. I'm a music executive. I'm a music professional. I'm a radio personality turned record executive turned nonprofit operator, so to speak, or nonprofit CEO turned government appointee. It's like a journey that took me from being in country music to Black music, to recorded music, to being in the government, to deciding I want to run a nonprofit. And that journey has, I'm sure a bunch of your questions will be encompassed in all of that, because I guess when I look back over my career, I guess I was that unsatisfied woman. That sounds like a book. It was just one thing. I was always pursuing something else. So, that's a long story short without sitting here telling you, wow. Now, if you want to hear the journey, I'll tell it to you now.
You want to hear the journey because what got you started in the entertainment business?
What got me started, I wanted to do radio. I'm from Grenada, Mississippi. It's about the town is about the size of that office you're in there. And wanting to do radio in a small town like that, I mean, it's Black, let's keep it real. The opportunities were really slim and none. But that did not quell my desire to want to do what I wanted to do, which was to be in radio. And so there was only one opportunity, and it was a country radio station. I kept going to the station. The guy would always laugh at me. He was just, I guess I was humorous to him. Like, well, you keep coming here, lady. We're not hiring you. But I kept going. And so one day I stopped by the station because I had a new tape. I thought this tape was perfect. And he just started laughing. He said, you know what? Go inside and have a seat. So that's what I did. I went inside, had a seat. Guess what happened? He hired me. So he hired me. And what actually happened is he would not let me say anything. Just think, you got to think 70s, Mississippi,
right.
radio station. He just said, don't say anything. And so for whatever reason, there was a gentleman that was supposed to come in. I do middays or something like that. Anyway, he didn't come in, and he says, I need you to get on the phone and call somebody so we can replace this guy. He's not going to make it in. So I was calling. Jim would always say he always believed I never called anybody, but I did. I did call, but I couldn't find anybody. And I said, I can't find anybody. And so he was like, just play the music. Please don't say anything. And yeah, he did. Don't say anything. So he came in a little later. He said, well, you might as well tell people what time it is. Yeah, but you told me not to say anything. He said, tell people what time it is. And so I came back and I say the time. And then he says, well, read the weather. I'm like, you told me not to say anything. So I read the weather, and he comes back and he says, well, you don't sound half bad. Introduce a record. And so I introduced a record, and really that was my start. He was like, okay, so this guy, I'm on the country radio station. I was on every day from 10 until 2 because he just liked me, and I was on the country radio station. And so what really got me into the business, I would always go into his office and sit down. And I said, man, this radio station would be on the one if we was playing Black music. He was like, you're right. And I would constantly go in and say, well, you can let me play Black music for an hour, just 1 hour. And he was like, and I'll never forget. He says, this is not a jukebox. You can't play what you like. You got to play what the advertisers will support. Right. And there are no Black businesses that will support the kind of program that you want to do. And so I said, well, what about the white businesses that depend on Black people to stay in business? What about them?
Right.
And he said, ain't nobody going to sign a contract for what you want to do. We don't know until we ask. So he told me that if I would find 3 businesses that would advertise on this show I wanted to do on his country radio station, he would consider it. So I came back with 5, and they were all signed. Okay, like I always tell people, I wasn't no superwoman. I went to the drugstore and discount shoe store. I went where I knew the people that would listen to me were shopping. Right. And those people were willing to advertise. So when I brought him 5, he gave me $100, told me to go buy some records. Well, I already had the records that I wanted to play. So when he put me on at 10 o'clock at night, we'll never forget, this is a true story. He said, I'm going to put you on at 10 o'clock. You can play your precious Black music. But if you come and burn the station down, we will have a full day of programming. So we're going to have full day of sales and programming. So I'm good. But the funny thing is, I came on at 10 o'clock. Yeah, I did get some of the ugly calls. It was all good. I didn't care. I was doing what I wanted to do. So those calls didn't really bother me. And he came in one day. He said, oh, this is doing really well because people were advertising. More and more people were advertising. He came in and said, we need to move this down to 8 o'clock So I started, the show was 8 o'clock to midnight. Until that day he came in and said, we need to move this down to 6 o'clock. So I did a country radio station playing black music from 6 to midnight for about 5 years. I did it for a very long time. And I just, one day I wanted to work, I wanted to be at an R&B station. I wanted to be around my people. I was the only black person there. Let's put that in there too. Right. And I just wanted that experience. I didn't want to stay at a country radio station playing black music at night. So I put my resumes out there and air checks, and I got a position at a station in Memphis. And one of the things that Jim would always say, I always done everything you ever asked me to do. Everything. I went against my own spirit, everything. And now you're going to leave. And I said, but Jim, if I stay, I'm going to be unhappy.
Right.
I need to at least try.
Right.
And so what we worked out, he was saying, if Memphis does not work out, if it does not work out, promise you'll come back here first. And so I said, if it doesn't work out, hey, save my mic, man. Save my mic. I'll be back. Right. But I never went back. I got at a station in Memphis, and what really kind of fueled who I am today was we were in a meeting one day and they were talking about, the radio stations, the target and advertising goals and stuff like that. And everything was females 18 to 34. And I said, a woman should be programming this. And the guy says, women don't program. What do you mean they don't program? So I set a goal that day that I was going to become a program director. And when they would always tell me that it's never going to happen because women just simply did not program stations. Right. But I'm very proud to say that at that radio station, I did program it the last 2 years that I was there. I took it from number 12 to number 2, which is something I'm always very, very proud of. And in that process, I actually, back in the day, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have all this technology that we have now. So if you wanted to make your move in the music industry, if you wanted people to know who you were or are, right, you had to go to the music conferences. If you weren't at the music conferences, you were nobody. So I would go to those music conferences just so I could be in the mix. And it just so happens I was at conference and ran into Wes Party Johnson. I call him my mentor, and the guy taught me everything. And he and Russell Simmons were we were in Atlantic City Atlantic City, New Jersey. That's where the conference was. And they cornered me because I was not playing a LL Cool J record. And the thing is, like I just told you, and I'll take the station from number 12 to number 2. We were not playing rap. There was another station in the market. They were playing rap, and they were doing a much better job of it than we were. So I wasn't playing. That was our personality. We're not playing rap. And so, they was hitting me more with all the black conversation. It was a black company, black artist, and you're a black woman and playing black music. You should be playing my black records.
Right.
But I'm like, no. And so we were just going back and forth. And of course, I did not change my position. I stayed where, we're not playing it. Right. So I came back to Memphis to my station. And on that Monday, they called me and offered me a job. Like, okay, we want you to talk for this. We want you to talk for this company the same way you was talking for that radio station. We want you to stand up for our artists the same way you stand up for that radio station. Right. I didn't really know that much about the record industry, but they was like, hey, we'll teach you because you'll talk to anybody. So, right. So that's how I got in the record industry. And the thing is, I was at Def Jam for a long time, like 15 years. And I left Def Jam to pursue an opportunity that I felt was just, I couldn't turn it down. It was to be head of black music at DreamWorks Records. So I couldn't turn that down. I couldn't. And so I did that for about 5 years, and Mr. Spielberg sold the company. So when he sold the company, I went back to New York, because the company's out in LA. I went back to New York, and the whole thing with the music commission in Memphis came up. And this is government. So it's like I'm a really record person, music person, industry person, and find myself in the midst of government and politics. So it was quite different for me. But I did it for 10 years. And at the end of that, it was time for me to just it was time to move on. And so I moved on, and I wanted to focus totally on the one thing that I loved, the one thing that kept me up at night, the one thing that I would do regardless of whatever. And that was NABFEME, because I was half doing NABFEME, and I wanted to just focus on NABFEME. And it meant so much to me. And I felt that I was in a good position, that I still could afford a box of crackers and some cheese. So I left, and I put my entire focus on NABFEME, which I started when I was at Def Jam in 2000, actually, when I introduced it to the industry. So I have been doing it. It's just, kind of like if you want to say a hobby, so a little side hustle or something I was doing, but it still meant a lot to me. I mean, I can't even express how much it meant to me, because I felt that a lot of the things that I was going through, especially at Def Jam, or a lot of times just being in a situation where it was all men and no women, and I just I was always trying to figure out how to translate that. How do I, and really, I love telling the story. That's where the whole Miss Walker thing came from, because it was like, I got to make these guys respect me. I got to make them know, you just can't say anything. You can't call me anything. And if you call me anything, I never answer. My name is Miss Walker. If you don't call me Miss Walker, I don't answer. So so it kind of worked for me. And that mentality, I kind of poured into the organization, and just found some other ladies in the industry that were pretty much interested in the same thing, and an organization was born. So when I decided to leave my position as music commissioner at the city of Memphis, it was okay. Let's go for broke, baby. Okay. This organization, we're gonna make it work. And so here I am.
Wow. I mean, Johnnie, that's a whole book and a half.
Yeah, I took you on a journey, honey.
Oh my God. I didn't know half of this stuff. So I am going to dissect some of the things you were saying. So
we found a good spot in this seat here.
Right. Okay. So you start off, you said it was Memphis or Mississippi?
Mississippi.
Okay. So you start off in Mississippi, you keep going back, you're very persistent, you want to be on the radio. Did you have experience? Did you go to school for it? Like, you just was like, no, I'm going to be on the radio. How did that work?
Well, a little short story with that is, obviously, golly, it's kind of like, when you're in a small town, you're married, you got the white picket fence, and you're supposed to be happy. I just wasn't happy. And when I wanted to do this radio thing, and this is no opportunity, I couldn't find anywhere to do it. And there was a little a company in Memphis that offered voice training. And so I thought that if I took that, then maybe I could learn how to, perfect what I thought I wanted to do, because I just knew I wanted to be on radio. Right. And so I started taking their voice training classes that they were offering. And I was studying because back then you had to have a third-class radio telephone license, or you couldn't work on the radio. Mm-hmm. And so I was studying to pass that. And I think the funny thing is, I would make those tapes. I would be reading from the newspaper or anything, and I was playing for my dad. And he would always say, "Oh, baby, that sounds good." I know it probably sounds horrible, but he would always say, "Oh, you always tell me it sounds good." Right. So it was like making those tapes over and over. And that's why the whole situation with Jim hiring me was funny, because he would always say on my tapes, he would always tell me that I say something. And he would say, the word is ask. Axe, you chop wood with ask. He used to say, every time he would always, but you know what that did for me? It told me he was listening to the tape. Mm-hmm. Because if he hadn't listened to the tape, he wouldn't have known that I mispronounced a word or something. So he would always be able to tell me a word I didn't say correctly or something like that. And so, but I just kept on. And on that day when he hired me, he said, "What is different on this tape and all the rest of them you brought here?" And I said, "Oh, Jim, this is the one. Listen, man, I've got all those words. Every single one of them are correct. This is the tape." He just laughed. Like I said, he just hired me. I know he didn't listen to the tape. So it was kind of like a consistent, for me, reading. I was so fanatic about reading. I would read a billboard. I would read it. I stopped and read newspaper. I read it out loud. I I pick up a magazine. If I pick up a magazine, I would hold it up like this so I could pretend like I'm talking to somebody and read it out loud.
Right.
That was my system. So it's like like I just learned to speak loudly, and I just learned to enunciate and learn to try to talk with authority in my voice. And I'm telling you, I would read a billboard. I was going down the highway and read a billboard, just constantly reading, constantly saying words, and any of the words that Jim said, I was saying incorrectly. See, like now I could just probably go in there and go, yo, yo, yo.
Right.
but then, it was a thing that, you had to have certain inflections and things like that in your voice. That was just the way it was.
Right.
But that was really, my dad was the cheerleader, and he just made me feel like, move over, Barbara Walters. He just made me feel like I could do it. And so I never thought I couldn't do it. It's just, he would always tell me, whenever they tell you no, you just got to flip it. And I'm like, what you mean flip it? He said, flip it. It's on. Go back.
I love it.
Every time I was like, Daddy, I don't think they like me. He said, go back.
Yeah.
You didn't do enough to get the yes. Go back. And so
I mean, that is powerful. The whole, and turn it into the own. That's powerful, Johnny.
He said, it's on. Go back.
Yeah. Okay. So the key thing that our listeners need to know is being persistent on what you want and not accepting the no's. You're going to get a million no's before you get some yeses. So I love the fact that, they kept telling you no.
Oh, no.
And you just was like, okay, well, let me change it. Here's another tape. So I love that. I even love the fact you're like one of them firecrackers like me. Because if you're not gonna open the door for me, I promise you I'm gonna do my own thing and I'm gonna bust it open. You know what I mean? So I see that in you. So one of the things when you went over to Def Jam and during our Christmas party, you told the story about why you started, NABFEME, and how you made everybody start calling you Miss Walker. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you tell that story of the industry? And you talked about it was a station, it was an award show or something like that. You had talked about that they weren't giving you, all the ladies stood together. Y'all.
That's okay. That was when we were about to introduce NABFEME to the industry.
Okay.
But you just got to look at it for what it really is. There's a lot of guys at Def Jam. It wasn't a lot of women there. Right. So it is like trying to differentiate yourself and trying to command respect. That I'm not saying that anybody was there to disrespect me or anything like that. I don't think that was the case. It's just that the guys are accustomed to what guys are accustomed to. Right. Guys are accustomed to honey this, baby that, right. Sweetheart this. And my dad taught me those are not my names. My dad would always say, you are what you answer to. Right. So if I answer to that, then that's who I am. Right. So I'm only going to, because I don't know you people. I'm from Mississippi. I don't know. Y'all can't be calling me names and you don't even know me like that. Right. So it was like, okay, my name is Miss Johnnie Walker. That's my name. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't say Miss Johnnie Walker, you weren't talking to me. Or Miss Walker, you could say Miss Walker. And so it was just kind of like sticking to it till it just kind of stuck. You know, the guy would say, hey, Miss Walker. I would answer. And somebody say, hey, honey, y'all turn around. You may have been, they could have been talking to me. I don't know. I just would never acknowledge those words. I never acknowledge honey. I never acknowledge sweetie. I just never. Baby, oh my God, I would never acknowledge that. Never. Because I just felt like I had to have a certain posture in this company because it just was too many men there, you know, so I had to separate myself. And that was really how I separated myself. But when we started NABFEME and we were introducing NABFEME to the industry, we were planning to do an event, and that event was in place. I mean, we had covered the cost for it and everything. But what happened is there was another person. I'm trying so difficult here to go around and not call names here. But there was another person that wanted to do an event at the same time. And I'm going to say that person was a little bigger than we were, you know, and more established and well known in the industry. So they had a little bit more clout. So they, the people that were doing the event came to us and wanted us to move our event, or, you know, if we cancel it, to pick another day or something like that, which we didn't want to do. We wanted our event to stay where it was. It was poolside. That's where everybody was going to be. That's where all the industry people were going to be. So if we were going to introduce this female-based organization in the entertainment industry, we needed to be where everybody was. That's why we pulled our little dollars together and paid for the position. But this other person, like, hey, I want that position. So what ended up happening is when they told us to cancel, that the other person wanted it and what their plans were,
Right.
I called my colleagues. There were 6 of them. And I called them all and I explained to them what was happening. I said, but you know what? Before we walk away, before we cancel, we're going to call one more time. And I don't want anybody to say anything. I'm going to take the full blame and we're going to go for it one more time. And so what we did, we called. So funny when I think about it, you know, like you can do conference call now and everybody's on that. Back then, I got to call you and you call somebody.
Right.
Well, anyway, all 6 of us were on the phone. And so we called the gentleman to say we received the information that we needed to cancel or move our event. And even though we don't like it, we accept it, if that's what it's got to be, but we think it's unfair. And just went into conversation. He was explaining why, you know, the decision that he made, yakety yak. So when he finished, I said, well, okay, well, before we wrap this conversation up, I need to, you need to know I'm not on the phone by myself. And so I introduced everybody that was on the phone. And I said, all of these ladies are responsible for purchasing ads at their company. This person buy the ads at Sony. This person buy the ads at Arista. This person buy the ads at Jive. This person buy the ads. I was naming them all off. And I mean, they didn't say nothing other than acknowledge the fact that they were on the phone.
Right.
He was like, oh God, I got 6 mad women. So he was like,
with that.
Yeah, he said, hold up, wait a minute. I said, well, what does that mean? I'll fix this. So basically what ended up happening is we had our event. It was poolside at the original time that we paid for. So that one incident showed me the power of solidarity, showed me the power of unity, showed me how when we come together to achieve the same goal, we're working together to achieve the same goal, we can win. We can win because we won that poolside event.
I think that was one of the things that really drew me to NABFEME. You know, it's all of these women that is doing some amazing things, supporting one another.
Right.
And you don't have that nowadays. You know, nowadays you have everybody's out for themselves, but not in this organization.
Well, what can I say? We were on a Clubhouse chat the other night, and one of the questions that came up was, what was your lowest point in your career and how did you rebound from it? Well, I had a whole bunch of those. But I think that when I think about really low, really low, is when you work really hard with people that you love and people you trust, and you think they love and they trust you, and you build something like NABFEME, and maybe you made a mistake, maybe you missed something, maybe you didn't cross a T or something, and instead of that person telling you forgot to cross your T, that person says, ooh, well, I should just take this for myself. And you got to deal with the pain of somebody that you trusted just want to take something from you and do it their way. Not tell you, oh, you just need to cross your T so you can fix that. They just decide, well, if the T is not crossed, that means it's an open field, so I might as well take it for myself.
Right.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I shed some tears over that. But like the guy asked, well, how did you rebound? How did I rebound that? I had to really pray on it and forgive that person, because I felt as long as I was angry, I was never going to move forward. And I knew that we were in the right. I knew we had did what we were supposed to do. Just, hey, we made a mistake. We left something off. Right. But you can't take all of our work and just steal it, because basically that's what it was. Right. And so, I mean, we prevailed, but I got to tell you, it hurt.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely
Yeah, it hurt.
How did you come up with the name NABFEME?
Oh wow. I was trying to say we were this national organization, but the main thing that was very important to me was two words that I've fought. This organization is 20 years old. So it's been those two words that have given me the most, I don't want to call it backlash, but let's call it resistance. Let's use that word, resistance. Executives and Black. They be like, executive of what? What are executives? It was always somebody challenging the fact that we were calling ourselves executives. I felt like we were executives. Mm-hmm. Maybe everybody that was in the organization may not have been an executive in their terminology, right? But in our terminology and our definition, even if this is a goal that you are pursuing, because we used to have a level that we called young executives. So everybody was an executive in our organization. So we felt that if you're going to reach that plateau of Sylvia Rohn, I just use that as an example, and you got to strive for it. Right. So if you're at this level, this is what you got to do to get to that level. So everybody was executives. And the other word was Black. Oh my God. It was like, okay, we know you Black. You ain't got to tell us. You don't have to put it in your name. Why don't you be minority women? Or why don't you be women of color? Well, that's 7 more words we got to add to the name. So, it was in the early days. It was just challenging because then you got to deal with companies because you're saying you're Black women in music and entertainment. And they were very hesitant about supporting us. They were pretty hesitant about, okay, well, I don't know. Are they militant? What are they doing? Are they angry? You know, we had to deal with the angry Black woman syndrome, just a lot of things. But I like to say God delivered that name to me because I had written down so many different things of trying to decide what the name of this organization was going to be. And when we came up with National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment, what struck me, I said, how people will never get all of that out. And I wrote down the letters, the acronym, and those last 4 letters stood out. And I just said, oh God, this is it. It was F-E-M-E, femme, because we're feminine and we have a feminine movement here. We're a national organization. We're pooling our interests together to facilitate some level of change in the industry. We're trying to do whatever we can to increase our visibility, to increase our voice, to make sure people see us, hear us, know us. So that's it. We're not feminists and we ain't burning no bras or nothing like that. But we have something to say. We have it's a level of equality that we're looking for that we felt we didn't have. And so it's like out there trying to figure out how we're going to get our unequal fair share. It was like, so when I saw those last 4 letters, F-E-M-E, I knew that was the name. That's it. That is it. So this organization is NABFEME. We put that interest on the femme. And it's the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment. I've said it so many times, it just slipped the flow off my. It's not hard for me to say. I say it all the time.
Right. What is the ultimate goal of NABFEME?
Our ultimate goal is to reach as many women as we possibly can. That our mission that we had in 2000 is the mission that we have today. We want to raise the awareness, increase the profile of women of color in music and entertainment. We want to educate, we want to inspire, we want to empower. If we can get those 3 things done, I'm happy. I feel like this organization reached its goal. If we can get that same level of solidarity that I achieved that day on trying to secure that poolside event, then we have won. And I see it every day. I realize that everybody can't do everything. You know, you girls in Atlanta, y'all busy. Yeah. y'all are like a very strong unit. Well, we may not have that same level of intuitiveness and sticking together and coming out to make it happen in, say, I'll pick an area, Las Vegas. See, we're just starting there. So each market stands on its own legs and each market, you know, is different. some markets are stronger than others. But what inspires me daily is the effort. What if we're not, when they'll look at what you guys are doing in Atlanta and say, okay, well, we want to do that. We want to do the same thing they did. So it's that desire to achieve the greater goal that keeps me going. So inspire, educate, and empower. And in that, we raise the profile, increase the awareness of Black women in music and entertainment.
Okay. I mean, all right. How can people join NABFEME?
Oh, real easy. NABFEME.org. Click membership. When you click membership, you'll see membership application. Click that. Form is going to come up. We have several options there. As you know, for the past really almost 2 years, but we were celebrating our 20th anniversary. We were planning, back it up. We were planning to celebrate our 20th anniversary. That would have been last year. COVID happened. We didn't get a chance to execute the plan that we had in mind. One of the things that we did, we dropped our membership dues are $100. We dropped our membership dues down to $20, and that was in recognition of the 20 networks, the 20 leaders, and the 20 years that we've been in this empowerment battle. And we dropped the membership dues down to $20. I mean, I think it was very effective. I mean, we brought a lot of people that hadn't been with us for a while came back. So it was a great movement. But you know, we're in 2021 now, and we had to change the membership dues back. But what we didn't do, we didn't take it back to $100. So for everybody listening and wondering, say, so what are the dues now? What we're doing now, we're recognizing the 20 years, actually 21 years now, but we're gonna stay on 20. Easy marketing. We're gonna stay on we're recognizing the 20 networks, the 20 leaders, and the 20 plus years that we've been in this empowerment education situation with NABFEME, and we're knocking 20% off that $100. So it's less $20, still recognizing the 20. So the annual membership dues are now $80. You can $80. It's if you want to. We love it if you want to do recurring payments. Just give us your credit card, and we don't have to bother you for you to renew your dues. It's right there. But we also understand COVID has impacted, like a lot of people, impacted myself, impacted the organization. So we have a monthly membership fee, is $10. So you come on board at $10, and that's, I mean, the thing is, you just have to renew every month, but it's $10. So if $10 is not a deterrent for you, and you want to try us out and just want to come and see what we're doing and kind of get on board, and you can change from the $10 membership at any time. So it's completely very easy. And then we have our 2-year level where you can just join for 2 years, or a bundle. We have a bundle where you join for 2 years and 1 year is free. But it's really easy. Just go to our website, nabfem.org, and click membership, and everything that I just described is right there. And you know, the sisterhood, I believe, is so important. And for anybody out there, you need an organization like this. If you see us and you don't like us, I respect that. But let me tell you, whether you believe it or not, you need promotion and advertising. People need to know who you are. People need to know what you do. When you're inside an organization like this, you have an opportunity to lead. You have an opportunity to take the drive. You can be at the driver's, you can sit in the driver's seat. And so whether it is an event, whether you're speaking on a panel, whether it's just you speaking, whether you got a book, whether you got a song, whatever you have an inner circle to start with right here. You have your own profile page. Just like you got your profile page on Facebook, you got a profile page with us. One of the biggest challenges we have is people won't put their picture there. So we are constantly calling people saying, put your picture there. Tell us what you do. Are you a singer, you're a songwriter, you're an author, you're a dancer, you're whatever. Put it there. So if someone is saying, I'm in Atlanta and I'm looking for a singer, well, they could go to the search in our website there, go to the search, put singer in, or put Atlanta in, and find. And I'm not gonna find a plethora of them there. But it's just a great way to promote and market yourself. Networking, I always call networking this another form of advertising. It's like when you got a network, it's like, say for instance, you got a string. Just pretend you got a string. Well, that string is easy to break. But if you take 5 or 6 pieces of string and wrap them together,
Right.
it becomes a little hard to break. So
Right.
that's what your network is. It's a group of people that's all wrapped together doing the same thing, trying to achieve the same goal. It makes it a little bit difficult to break. So it's, like our job bank. We post jobs. We get our jobs from CBS, Viacom. We get jobs from Facebook. How about that? We get jobs from HBO. I mean, and we get sometimes people call me and they'll say, the jobs you're putting up there, I don't qualify for that. How you know? Did you try?
Mhm.
I'm like, I didn't qualify for many of the jobs that I have, but I learned a word from a young lady. Her name is Jackie Reinhardt, and anybody that know me will know this young lady. We were talking one day, and she was saying one of the things that our sisters have to understand is 2 words. Those 2 words are called skills transfer. I will never forget that. How do you transfer your skills into another industry? How do you transfer your skills into something else? Just do one thing. And so that's what I talk to a lot of sisters about when they call and say, well, I saw this job, but I don't think that I qualify for it, or I can't do it. Well, as long as you believe you can't do it, you can't.
Right.
If you believe you can't do it, sometimes you just got to try. Sometimes, and there's no disrespect to anyone, no disrespect. Sometimes employee don't know what he wants. He put the job up there. He done went to some book the job description we need. That's really not what he wants. But you got to go in there. When I was a copywriter for a radio station, never went to any advertising school, never studied copyright, and never. I'm gonna tell you what made me go into that. I wanted to do copywriting because I could work in the daytime, so I could be at home with my kid at night. Because my situation had me working at night, and I needed to be at home at night. And so I applied for this job in copywriting, and I was getting ready to go, and this is a true story. I was getting ready to go to the general manager's office to ask him, had he made a decision? And as I got there, there was another gentleman in his office, and he was saying, he was telling him that he was considering me. And he was, I can't believe you're considering her. She doesn't have any background in advertising. She doesn't know anything about copywriting. The copywriting, that's how we speak to our advertisers, speak to our listeners to sell product. He doesn't have any background in that. And so he was just saying, well, I'm just thinking about it like that. And I heard that, and I ran back to my space, and I waited until that guy came out of there. When he came out, I went right back, knock on the door. Can I come in? He told me, yeah, I could come in. And I said, I'm really interested in that copywriting job. And he said, well, we're interviewing, we're talking to quite a few people. I said, yeah, but while you're talking to those people, you don't have anybody writing copy for you, do you? He said, no. I said, well, I'll do it for free. He looked at me. He said, well, I said, I'll do it. I said, I will do it for 2 weeks for free. You don't owe me anything. If I'm not the best copywriter you ever had, what have you lost? You haven't lost anything. I'm not leaving my position. I'm going to do that. Oh, he said, so you're going to do both jobs. I'm going to do both jobs. And I will do the copywriting for free for 2 weeks. If I'm not the best you've ever had, you haven't lost anything.
Right.
And the first thing I did, I knew that copywriting was very important to the salespeople. Because they got to sell those ads. So I developed my relationships right there with them to understand what they wanted. And one of the things that the advertisers liked about me was I could write conversationally. And I could write conversationally and made it easy for the announcers to voice my copy. Oh, they fell in love with me. So in 2 weeks, everybody was like, I want Johnnie to write my copy. I want Johnnie to write my copy. So it was like 2 weeks when I went in, I was like, he was like, hey, if I don't give you this job, every announcer and salesperson in here, they're gonna beat me up. So I had the announcers, I had the salespeople all in my corner saying, man, nobody writes copy like her. And so I was a copywriter for like 3 years at a radio station, simply because that guy said I couldn't do it. He was in there telling that guy I was not the one. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know nothing about me. And let me be honest, because I know this is live. I want to be honest. I knew nothing about copywriting. When that man told me he would let me do that job for 2 weeks, I went straight to the library. I mean, I honestly, my goal was to work during the day so I could be at home at night with my kid. That was my goal. But I knew I had to master that. I had 2 weeks to at least master it to the point where he felt I was the right person for the job.
Yeah.
And I knew that the salespeople was the key to keeping that job. So, so I just tell people all the time, never say you can't do something. If you believe you can't, you can't. You really can't.
Right. Well, Miss Johnnie Walker, I have so many other things that I want to ask you, but we're going to have to, I want to ask you live. I want to have you come back because I have so many other questions I want to ask. It's so much.
Oh, yeah, come back next time.
Yeah, I want you to come back. You're dropping so many nuggets and everything. And I have a lot more questions for you that I think that the audience and listeners will gain, a lot of knowledge and everything. I mean, you're dropping so many jewels right now. So for right now, can you tell everybody how they can reach you? And I would love to have you come back.
Oh, first of all, I would love to come back. Appreciate you having me here this evening. You can reach me at nabfem@gmail.com. You can reach me on Instagram at nabfemprez, and that's spelled with a Z, NABFEMEPREZ. And everywhere else, I'm Miss Johnnie Walker. I'm Miss Johnnie Walker on Facebook, Miss Johnnie Walker on Twitter, Miss Johnnie Walker. Well, on what is this new thing? Clubhouse, I'm Miss Walker.
Yeah.
I'm Miss Walker. So it's Miss Walker, Miss Johnnie Walker, with the exception of IG, it is NABFEMPrez.
Okay.
Real easy.
With all that being said, we're going to say goodbye to our Facebook Live people, and Miss Johnnie Walker, you stay on the screen. So everybody out there, we'll talk to you guys later.